Hello and welcome. In this video, we are going to learn about the function node and the run script node. Both of them let you write JavaScript, but they run it in two completely different places. The function node runs in the robot and works on the message object. The run script node runs inside the web page the browser has open. Let us start with run script, which needs a web page to run inside. So, an inject node, renamed start, because a flow needs something to set it off. Open browser launches a real Chrome on the machine the robot is running on. And open link takes that browser to an address. One click on open link opens its properties. Browser and page ID are already filled in. The designer takes them from the open browser node. What we have to type is the address. Books to Scrape is a practice site. Its own front page says we love being scraped. Save the flow because the robot runs what is saved, not what is on the screen. Now let us run it on a robot. A real Chrome opens on the robot machine and loads the page. This is the page the flow has open, and it is the page a run script node would run inside. Before we write any code into the flow, let us try that code by hand. Press F12, and the browser opens its developer tools. This is a part of Chrome, not a part of Robomotion, and it is where a page gets taken apart. The Elements panel on the left is the page as the browser actually parsed it. The arrow in the top corner lets you point at anything on the page and jump straight to it. So point at the first book cover, and there it is, an image tag. It carries an alt attribute holding the title of the book, and no other element on this page has that. Control F opens the search, and it takes a selector. That is an XPath, an image element whose alt attribute equals that title, 1 of 1. But the method we are going to use takes a CSS selector, not an XPath. So drop the XPath parts and keep the attribute. Same element, still 1 of 1. Now the console tab, which is a JavaScript prompt running inside this page. Document.querySelector takes that CSS selector and hands back the element. There it is, the image tag we were pointing at a moment ago. Store it in a variable so we can do something to it. And now change its source to a completely different image. The cover has changed. Nothing happened to the website, only to the copy of the page in this browser. That is what running JavaScript in the browser context means. That is exactly what the run script node does, so let us put one in the flow. It goes after open link because it needs a page to run inside. Its page ID property already points at the page open link opened. Double-click the run script node, and a code editor opens. Collapse the AI panel so the code has the whole window. The same 2 lines we just typed into the console, word for word. This code will not run in the robot. It will run inside the page with that page's own document. Save it and close the editor. Then save the flow. Stop the old run and start it again. This one takes a few seconds. Chrome has to open, and then the page has to load. Keep an eye on the first book cover while the page comes up. And there it is, the Robomotion logo, where the cover used to be. Nobody touched the keyboard. The run script node did it inside the page. Changing a page is 1/2 of what run script is for. The other half is bringing data back out of one. So let us point the flow at a different page. Quotes to Scrape, which is a page with 10 quotes on it. Save. The flow opens the quotes page, and we want the text of every quote on it. Open the developer tools again and point at the first quote. The picker takes us straight to it. It is a span element with a class attribute of text. So the CSS selector is simply class equals text. 10 matches, that is every quote on the page, which means the selector is a good one. Over to the console. querySelector gives us only the first one, because that is all it ever gives you. querySelectorAll gives all 10 as something called a node list. Store those in a variable. Each element has an inner text, which is the quote itself. We want all 10 of those, so the obvious move is map. And it fails. Map belongs to a real array, and a node list is not one. Array.from turns it into an array, and then map works. 10 strings, there is a shorter way to write the same thing, called the spread operator. 3 dots inside square brackets spread the list out into a new array. That array of strings is what we want the run script node to hand back. Now, if that looked like a lot of JavaScript for 10 pieces of text, do not let it put you off. Run script is the hands-on option. It is not the only one, and it is not usually the first one. Our web recorder can scrape a page like this with clicks alone, no code at all. And in the build view, you can simply ask the AI to scrape it, in one prompt, and it writes the flow for you. We are doing it by hand here, because this video is about what run script can do. So, a debug node after run script to see what came out of it. Open the run script editor again. And replace the code with the 2 lines that worked in the console. querySelectorAll for all 10, and the spread operator to turn them into strings. This is the second difference between the 2 nodes, and it is worth saying slowly. A function node must return the message object. A run script node returns data. Here that is an array of 10 strings, and it never sees the message object at all. Save and close. So where does that array go? The node has an output property called result. Give it a name on the message, call it quotes. Save the flow. Run it once more. The browser opens, the script runs inside the page, and the debug node prints what came back. There is our quotes field. 10 strings, scraped by 2 lines of JavaScript running in the browser. From here it is ordinary flow data. Write it to a spreadsheet, post it to an API, anything. Now the other one. The function node has nothing to do with browsers, so it gets a flow of its own. Start as before. Then an input box, which asks the person running the flow a question. And a debug node, so we can see what their answer looks like on the message. Open the input box properties. The title is the dialog's own title bar. Call it Ask Name. And the text is the question itself. The answer comes back on the message. By default, it lands on a field called text. Change that to name, so the rest of the flow can say what it means. Save. Run it. The input box is not drawn by the designer. It is a dialog on the machine the robot runs on. Type a name. And the debug node shows it. The message now carries a name field. That is the message object, the thing every node in a flow hands to the next one. Now we can do something with that name, and this is where the function node comes in. A function node is JavaScript that runs in the robot, on the message object. A message box after it to show the result. And a stop node, so the flow ends cleanly instead of sitting there. Double-click the function node. It starts life with return message. A function is handed the message object and has to hand it back. So let us add a greet field to it, built out of the name the person typed. Hello, then the name off the message, then a question. This is plain JavaScript running in the robot. There is no page here and no browser. Document.querySelector would simply fail, there is no document in this context to ask. Save the code and close the editor. Now the message box, which needs a title. Greetings. And its text comes off the message, from the greet field the function just made. Save. Run it. The question first. Jane. And there is the greeting, put together by the function node out of what she typed. A dynamic message from 3 lines of JavaScript in the robot. One more thing about the JavaScript itself. Joining strings with plus signs and double quotes is easy to get wrong and hard to read. JavaScript has a better way, backticks, which are called template literals. Inside backticks, you write the sentence out and drop the variable into it. $, curly braces, and the value goes in right there. Same result, and far easier to read a month from now. Save the flow. And for something this small, you do not need a function node at all. Take it out and wire the input box straight to the message box. Every input property has a little scope button beside it. Custom is a literal U-type. Message reads a field off the message. And JS is a single line of JavaScript, evaluated when the node runs. The same template literal, living on the property instead of in a node. Save. Run it one last time. Same question. Jane again. And the same greeting, with one node fewer on the canvas. A function node is for real work on the message. A one-liner belongs on the property. So 2 nodes, both JavaScript, 2 different contexts. The function node runs in the robot, works on the message object, and must return it. It cannot touch a web page, because in the robot there is no page to touch. The run script node runs inside the open page and returns data, or nothing at all. And for a single line, the JS scope on a property will often do instead of either. Thank you for watching.